Okay, so what I was doing here was removing this shower mixer valve. It was leaking out of one side. I believe it was the cold on the right. I descaled the unit because there was a lot of scale built up where it had been leaking out of that joint. Just basically cleaned it up, checked it, pasted it slightly, refitted it. I also descaled the shower head because that was quite blocked. On this job, I was just changing that lower immersion, so you have to drain down the whole unvented cylinder. I did that via that window on the landing, although I didn't note when I went outside to check that the water would have drained straight down into the white electric cabinet that was down there. So luckily I managed to move the hose before I turned it off and drained it down. Just held the pressure relief valve open with a pair of grips. This job was just removing and swapping over this integrated dishwasher, which isn't my favourite job in the world, to be honest. The plumbing bit of it's absolutely fine. It's just the doors often can be a faff to refit and get them to line up on the front of the new unit. Luckily this unit was a pretty much like for like replacement, same brand of the existing one, so the doors pretty much went back on. The plumbing under the sink was a bit tight because you had a water softener, you had bowl and a half, taps, all the other household plumbing, stopcock, etc. So it was quite compact, as you can see, even if we're looking up at it. So I was just removing the old dishwasher connection there and the drain pipe work, cleaning up behind. It was hardwired into the wall there, which can always be rewired in. I think I had to cut the plug off the new unit to do that. There's never a lot of room behind these integrated dishwashers, which can make things a bit challenging. So then I was off to the next one. Basically this softener was the bypass was leaking. One of the lever valves was broken on it, so, and the pipe work was a bit scabby, to be honest. So I cut out the pipe work leading to the softener, which is basically a loop, and it was quite damp in here, so that there's obviously been an ongoing leak for quite some time. You can see that the old bypass was a bit of a mess, really. So I just cleaned up a bit of the old pipe work with a wire brush, and then fitted a new bypass. So I ran some new pipe work along and back up through the system. I did note that the way it was plumbed, there appeared to be no hard water tap, but it turned out that there was a separate hard water tap in the bathroom on the basin when I checked it later on. This is a Monarch bypass that I've used here. New hoses to the softener. I think the softener was a Harvey's block salt unit or equivalent. These Monarch bypasses are excellent. So you just plumb your in and your outs and off you go. This job was ripping out this whole bathroom, turning it into a shower, so getting rid of the bath, turning it into a shower. I always tend to use this stick down protection on floors. I find sheets are a trip hazard, and I just leave the protection film down for the duration of the job and pull it up at the end. Remove the bath, that came out easy enough. It was a 1700 bath. I replaced it with a 1600 tray because I was fitting it on my own. I wanted a bit of space at the end to be able to lift it, get it in and out, and not struggling within a 1700 space. Capped off the old supplies under the floor. Removed the bungs that I'd fitted in the loft, although the gate valves did work in the airing cupboard. I bunged it here in the, there was a coffin style tank in the loft, relatively new one by the looks of it. And so these gate valves did work, but it's easy to bung it just to make sure. I cut off the waste, which was tied in with that basin waste, and I repurposed that under the floor for the shower tray. You wouldn't normally combine a basin and a bath on the same piece of pipework, but it worked fine. It drained down. You're not going to pull the whole floor up and replumb all of that. I was confident that it was all going to drain fine, and it did. I also ended up pulling up all the tiled floor in this room, which wasn't part of the original job, but when I was walking about on it, doing the rip out, it was moving about and was clearly not stuck down, so we pulled the old tile floor up. This is the new gear. So we've got the shower panels, the tray, which was a 1600 by 700 resin jobby, absolute weighs a ton. Lift that up the stairs on my own. After cleaning it off, I used I put handles on it, you'll see in a second. I use suckers on it, but I don't rely on them for the lifting. I lift on the actual tray edges itself, but I do have them there for sort of bit of extra manoeuvring, but I'm basically holding the edge of the tray most of the time. But it does help when you're laying the tray down, etc., with those suckers, especially when you're doing it on your own. This is why I got a 1600, because it allowed me to fit that in there with that gap at the end. Checked it was level. I had to build up the tile adhesive on one end just to get a level, but other than that, the floor was quite level. These units came flat pack, which was a bit annoying. I built those outside on the workbench, and then everything else got fitted. My new mascot came for the van, so I quickly fitted that during one of my very rare lunch breaks. Brought that screen up, that was heavy as well. Again, used the suckers just to get it into position. I did realise actually when I stepped inside the tray that it had easy clean glass on it, and I had it on the wrong side, so I had to turn it round, because it clearly said easy clean glass this side. I was like, oh, right, turn it round, put it the other way, which with the suckers is relatively straightforward. There's a sill that goes up the glass there, that's all that seems to hold that in. Used it loads of times, never had any problems. That was a Triton digital shower that I fitted there. I used to fit a lot of the Aqualisa Visage digital showers, but the prices of those have gone right up at the moment, and the Triton one is a cheaper option. It's a better looking shower, and you don't have to run, it does come with one, a control cable back to the processor unit in the loft or airing cupboard, wherever you're going to fit it, because it's a radio controlled one. You put some batteries in the back of it, in the controller, which you can put the controller anywhere, and it just tells the unit in the loft what to do.
Plenty of room to get around there, doesn't it? Even
just silicone in the bottom of the glass, yeah, which when the floor layers came in, they messed the silicone right up, and I had to redo it.
Slim old me, look, no problem. So everyone else in the world will be fine. Yes. Because the water it comes straight down there, hits the glass.
Explaining to the customer who, where, what, why,
put
when.
A shower mat as you step out there. I do loads of these. I don't know of when I've had a problem when it was getting out of there. And there is a solution. You can get a 30mm.
I was talking about whether we need a flipper panel on the end to contain the water, but very rarely do I need to fit a flipper panel to contain the water. That's never normally an issue. This is the completed job. The floor layers have been in and just put a bit of vinyl down. That's the shower panels. They come out fine. They're like 250mm wide planks. And that was the end of the week.